Okay.
Okay, I would like to call to order the meeting of the Orange County Industrial Development Agency at 6:02 p.m. Could we, before we start, could everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
to the flag,
United States of America,
America,
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all.
Okay, we have roll call, please.
Paul Ruskevich.
Here.
John Douthat.
Present.
Mike Torelli.
present.
Vincent Odock.
Present.
Tyler Etzel.
Here.
Leslie Pieri.
Here.
Laurie Viasuso is here. Galileo Technology Group, Vincent Cozzolino is here. Melanie Schouten is here. Ed Genesev, is Ed here? No, Ed is not yet.
He's having trouble joining. He
Okay,
keeps, like,
Ed will be joining us, and Kevin Dowd and Russ Genzel are both here as well.
Okay, well, the first order of business is a reorganization. So first up, we need to elect a chairman. With that, I would like to nominate Mike Torelli. Is there a second?
I will second.
Okay, seconded by Leslie Pieri. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, well, the motion passes. Mike, congratulations. I'll turn the meeting over to you.
Thank you, Paul. To continue on with the election of officers, I'd like to nominate for vice chairman, John Doda. Is John? Any other buddy like to be nominated? With that said, I'd like to vote that in. So all in favor for John to become vice chair?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Abstain? Carried. Next officer to be elected, second vice chair. Any nominations on the floor?
I'd like to nominate Tyler Etzel.
Yes,
Any
second.
other nominations on the floor?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstained? Tyler be second vice chair. For secretary? Like to take any nominations on the floor? I'd like to nominate Leslie.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstentions or opposed? Leslie, assistant secretary. There's only one of us left, Vince, so I'll nominate Vince.
I'll second.
Paul, unfortunately, you know, as
Second.
I should have said this beforehand, as Paul being an elected official, he's not eligible to be on an officer as as our bylaws state. So I'll nominate Vince. Second, anyone?
I'll second.
Thank you, Leslie. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Been passed. We'll continue on with the appointments to the committees. Going through this, what I've done is put together a list of committees and assign people to those committees. At this point, the chairman's appointments for the audit committee will be Leslie, John, and Tyler. The finance committee will be John, can't read my own writing, Vince, and myself. The governance committee will be Tyler, John, myself, and Leslie. Accelerator committee would be myself, Leslie, Tyler, and Vince. And a human resources committee will be Leslie, John, and myself. Those are the appointments as of now. Paul, once again, we're abstaining you from having you have to take part in any of the committees. But obviously, we're going to look for your input along the way and ask you to potentially voice your opinions and your leadership in some of those committees on a as-needed basis.
I will do that.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I didn't hear that very well. I'm on the accelerator committee, right?
Yes, you are.
All right, thank you.
Yep, I knew that was something that you expressed interest in, and I look forward to work with you on that.
Yeah, okay.
With that said, I do like to entertain a motion to change around the order of the actual meeting. With us meeting at the end of a business day, I would like to, and for the foreseeable future, put projects to the top of the list so we don't have to delay their length of day as it would just be the prudent thing to do. So at this point, I'd like to move the agenda item of the Fiorello resolution. I'd like to start by saying I think this is a great project. I would ask that someone on staff, whether if it's attorney and/or Lori, if you can give a brief overview of the Fiorello project, what steps we've taken so far, what step are we in right now, being final resolution, and any project details. I would then open it up for a small discussion amongst us, and then eventually I would like to call for a vote on the resolution. So whether it's Mr. Dowd or Lori, if you would like to give a brief overview of the project, it'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Happy to do so. So the overall project, as everyone knows, is in Warwick. It's at the former prison grounds. The overall project cost is about 150 million. The job numbers that will be coming to Orange County as a result of the project are 125 jobs for the first year, and then 25 per year after that. The application is seeking a sales and use tax exemption, a mortgage recording tax exemption, and a pilot, in addition to conduit bonds, which they're working with Harris Beach on to secure. The project was scored, as we discussed at the last meeting, based on the project approval matrix. It did score 28, which makes them eligible for the 15-year pilot. That is a decision that this board can make today on whether it becomes a 10 or 15-year pilot. In the past, we have, of course, they came to the board a few months ago and presented the project. Rebecca's with us today too to answer any further questions, just so you all know. But they had, they had come to the board a few months ago to initially present the project. They were induced at that time. We held a public hearing, the transcript of which was provided in the last board packet. There were some comments. We got a letter about some of the projects, but or not a letter about some of the projects, a letter with some questions about the projects, but the same questions I would say that the board has asked, right? Which is, how does this, what are the next steps and how many jobs? What does it really mean for Orange County and for Warwick? So the next step after this, should the resolution be passed today, the final resolution be passed today, then GTI Fiorello would be poised to utilize their incentives when the time is right. So this would allow them to secure the incentives, to secure their bond financing, and then once they get to financial close, we'll be able to execute documents to then avail themselves of the sales and use tax exemption, the mortgage recording tax exemption, and then the pilot would start once the building was constructed. Do you have is that enough at this point, Mike, or would you like a little further detail, or would you like to ask Rebecca any questions?
No, I think if you could just reconfirm, we did have the public hearing on this already, and that was closed out.
That's
So
correct.
that's an additional step that we've done, as well as received letters of support from the host municipality.
That's correct.
Most recently, if you can confirm, we received an estimated new tax generation and revenue. And what I really like about the project is that it'll be adding to the tax rolls from day one, from them taking ownership once they purchase the property. Right now, the property is off the tax rolls. So I think we've worked with the Orange County Department of Real Property, and we've all received some of that information. And what I really like about it is that it really spells out specifically what some of the estimates are and how the special districts are at 100%. They're going to get everything from day one. So the ambulance and the fire districts in that area will be receiving a full tax assessment and a full property taxes in regards to that. I also really like that as it grows over time and as we continue, while we based it on just their initial investment, it shows in excess of $3.3 million being added to the tax rolls in that municipality in those taxing jurisdictions, which I would hope that, and I'd like to, if we do come to a positive resolution, that we would do a nice press release and coordinate that with everybody that's been involved to actually spell out some of those positives that are out there so that everyone kind of gets to understand better what IDAs are and what our function is. So I would really like to work with that in the next day or two to get something out there, well, not only on our website, but maybe even as a press release with coordination, obviously, of the of council and of the actual applicant. So with that, I'd like to open it up for discussion. One thing that I would like to ask bond counsel on, just to reconfirm that this applicant and their use is bond eligible or bond financing eligible. Is someone from Harris Beach, I believe, is on. If we could just reconfirm that. That was a question that I had from the other day, thinking about this project that I'd just like to have answered on the record.
Yeah, this is Russ Genzel. Good afternoon, everybody, Mike, and that's a good question. Remember, there are two types of, there are two types of bonds that can be issued: tax exempt bonds for not-for-profit corporations, small manufacturing, and affordable housing, which comes with a whole set of IRS regulations and rules that have to be followed that are tax driven. This is not that. This is a taxable bond that is being offered to institutional investors to provide essentially Rebecca and her team a broader scope of financing versus going to a local bank. As Lori noted, it is a pure conduit issuance by the IDA. It's a non-recourse bond to the IDA, the county, the state. The debt is solely of the borrower. So we are simply a conduit that would issue the bond on behalf of the developer.
And this resolution includes that as a.
It does, yes, Mike, it does, yes.
Thank you.
And they have engaged, Rebecca, correct me if I'm wrong, Roosevelt and Cross, which is a national underwriting team that will represent them in marketing this. And they're very excited about it.
Yes, that's correct. We have, and yes, we feel like it's a great opportunity for us and for other institutional investors to get a little bit of exposure to the project without too much risk.
And the interest rate climate, Mike, is right now is just, perfect for this type of transaction.
Right. A second question that I would have, and then I'm going to open it up to the floor to the rest of to the other council members and agency members. Can you opine upon whether this is eligible for a 15-year abatement based upon our uniform tax policy or tax abatement policy?
This is Russ. Yeah, this is Russ. I'm happy to answer that question. Based upon the policy and the metric that has been established a couple years ago and the scoring system that was established, that yes, this would qualify for the 15-year pilot. And if the numbers aren't met, Mike, we would have to possibly adjust that.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'd like to open it up to IDA board members. Any discussion, any questions that you may have of any of our council or of the applicant or of staff?
I have a question, Tyler. Do you know how many construction jobs it's going to create?
Great question. I do not have that offhand, but I can tell you, if you give me a second, how much of the construction spend is anticipated to be FF&E versus labor, if that would help. I just don't have the exact.
Yeah, well, that's certainly. What percentage of? I know the 155 million includes equipment and materials and.
Yeah, so it's around. So if we talk, so for the full project, which is 155 million, 28 million of that is fixtures and equipment. And then around 117 is construction costs, and 5.7 million is architecture and engineering. So another, labor kinds of costs, not really heavy materials. In the first phase, 30 million. So that's the immediate phase one that we want to, get started on right away. That's 30 million of construction costs and 8 million of fixtures and equipment. And then estimated another 2.5 of architecture and engineering, plus the cost of the property itself.
Okay. Thank you.
So yeah, I sorry, I don't have the.
Yeah, no, I was just curious. I know
Multiplier.
it's a big project, so I didn't know what.
Yeah, no, great question.
Thank you.
Any other questions from board members?
Yeah, this is Paul. I was just wondering if Fiorella had any preference as to 10 or 15, and how that may affect your decision either way.
Oh, at the company? I mean, obviously the 15-year pilot is preferable to us, but we appreciate the consideration for anything that you guys feel is applicable.
Thank you.
Chairman, may I add one thing?
Please do.
So just because we have a new board, I just wanted to put this out there as well. In addition to, the work that we'll do for the closing, as I think everyone's aware, we have a labor policy that requires that we audit the job as it goes on. So we will have very real-time numbers about the construction figures, how many people are on site. We make sure that they're local, that the jobs are coming from the Hudson Valley area, the REDC area, essentially. So that will be something that we'll work with Fiorello on, with GTI on right out of the gate to make sure that, from day one, we're always monitoring, making sure that the people who live in this area are the ones benefiting from the construction.
Yeah, that's assistance on hiring that we look forward to.
I have a question for Rebecca.
Yes.
Yes. Now, normally a project like that, you would have a economic impact study based on construction alone.
Mm-hmm.
How many jobs, you can look at the multiplier, see how many jobs that may be created. You see, we refer to that as economic multiplier effect. Has any study been done from the construction phase? The employment, as it's been mentioned, that the workers will be local here, mostly local workers. But have you tried to do an impact study and see how many total that will be hired?
So we haven't done a specific impact study, on the number of construction jobs that this project would create, if I'm understanding the question correctly. But that said, we are aware of the IDA's rules on local hiring, and that's something that we intend to comply with without issue. So all of that 30 million plus of construction costs. Obviously, the fixtures and equipment we have to source from where we can source it. We can't, it's specialized equipment, so I can't say that we would source that locally because I don't know that it's all available. But the other 30 million of construction costs would be sourced locally to the extent that that's possible. And that's, part of the IDA's, part of the rules as I understand it for the incentives, and something that we look forward to complying with.
Great, thank you. Any other board members have any questions? At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion. Anyone like to make a motion on this project?
I'll make motion.
Tyler, can you be a little more specific in
I'll
relation
make a
to?
motion that we accept this project for the 15-year pilot, because that's what it scores out to. And so I think we should stay with how our scoring system works. And if it's, it scores to 15, then I agree that we go with the 15-year pilot.
Thank you.
And the bonding and whatever goes with it.
Paul, you had something to say? You had a second?
Yep, I'm second.
Okay. Any discussion? All right. I'd like to call the roll in relation to this project. Will someone do that for us?
Kevin, did you want to, do you have the resolution handy?
Actually, I do not. I'm on vacation, so Russ would have to read the resolution, but basically the motion's been made and seconded, and we just do a roll call.
Okay, I can do the roll call for you.
Thank you.
Great. So Paul Ruskevich,
Yes.
John Douthit,
You can't. You're on mute, John.
muted, John.
Sorry, abstain.
Mike Torelli,
Yes.
Vincent Odock,
Yes.
Tyler Etzel,
Yes.
Leslie Pieri.
Yes.
Passes with 5 ayes and an abstention.
Great. Thank you. And Rebecca, thank you for your patience and your company's patience in regards to our process. We look forward to continuing to work with you. So at this point, congratulations. I'd like to extend a welcome hand, and anything you guys need, please come and talk with our staff about putting out a nice positive press release in the very near future. We'd like to get all the details out and really educate everybody about the positives, not only of the project and of the IDA, but all the different things that are associated with it, the benefits, the tax rateables, the jobs, and everything in between. So thank you once again for your application, and we look forward to working with you in the very near future. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for considering this and for all your thoughtful questions. Really appreciate it. And we are very excited to move forward as well.
Great.
I will exit your meeting. So thank you.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Bye.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Okay, so we move the agenda around a little bit. What I'd like to be able to do now is to talk about a couple different things that we would like to do. And I would entertain a couple resolutions that we're thinking about and some discussions and potentially a vote. I would like to be able to talk about 4 different topics. Just give me a second. I'm going to pull them up because I have them here. So the topics, give me one second. As you can see, on our dais today is the county attorney, Langdon Chapman. And in relation to this, the board, I would like to ask for a call or a vote on having the county attorney help us coordinate legal services of our remaining counsel that we have, both regular counsel, bond counsel, and any other counsel that is potentially out there. I'd like to have a discussion on that. Anybody have any questions on that or would like to talk about that at all?
Are you putting that in the form of a motion, or are you just having a discussion at this point?
A discussion, then I'd like to go to a motion. All right, with that, I'd like to, yes, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just wondering whether we should have independent counsel or as opposed to county counsel. I guess, is anybody else interested in that?
No.
Okay.
No. There's a cost associated with that, and I'm not in favor of that. So I'd like to make a motion to ask the county attorney to help us with to help coordinate legal services of our existing councils and help the IDA board through this transition. I'd like to make that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Anybody
No.
abstaining? Anybody
vote
saying
no.
no?
Yes, I'll vote no.
Okay, so that's 5 in favor, 1 opposed. It passes 5-1. Secondly, knowing that we are coming up on a very important date for our Paris reporting, I'd like to make a motion to ask Harris Beach, our bond counsel, since they have a lot of direct relationship with the ABO, to file our Paris report, and if so needed, ask for an extension if it's so determined. I'd like to make that motion. Can I have a second?
Yeah, Mike, might I just say one quick thing?
Yes.
Yeah, we're happy to do that. And what I will do is, and Lori and others on the call, Melanie, if she's still on, have worked with Julie Marshall from our office, who helps many of our IDA clients do the parish reporting. In fact, Monroe County just finished theirs today, but I agree, we'll probably need an extension on this.
Thank you. Thanks for the comment.
I'll second that motion, Mike.
Okay. I'd like to call the all in favor of having Harris Beach do the Paris report, and if needed, I think we do now, ask for an extension to the ABO.
Aye.
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 All those opposed? Abstention? That carries 6-0. Another topic that I'd like to bring up is attorneys and consulting attorneys Brown and Whitejob. They had some conversations with the Vona group in regards to the recent presentation that was made. I'd like to be able to have, I believe Brown and Whitejob has hired them through this process. I'd like to be able to get the contract and give it to the district attorney's office and the county's attorney's office for review. So we understand the scope of work of the Vona contract of the recent presentation. Could I have a second on that?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? That carries 6-0. Lastly, in relation to these resolutions and or votes that we're doing today, I'd like to add an agent to the IDA. And in particular, I'd like to add Bill Fioravante as an agent to the IDA to help us in gathering information and to keep the IDA board informed on the IDA's economic development projects. He is the county's economic development director, and I have great faith in his ability. I'd like to be able to do this as a resolution today. The reason being is because I think we need some additional assistance. And I think that Bill is in a perfect position for this. It's not time specific, but it is something that we would like to do, particularly for the very near future. So I'll say it will be indefinitely to be a time to be determined by the board at a later date. So I'd like to ask for a second in naming Bill Fioravante as an IDA agent to help us through this process. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Aye.
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 All those opposed? Abstention? That carries 6-0.
Mike, excuse me for a second, Mike. Is there going to be a scope of services for him? Is there going to be a contract with the county for his services? I'm not too sure how we're going to do that coordination. Usually the agents work under a contract for a specific dollar amount.
Nope, I think we're going to have a direct relationship with Bill without any compensation directly from the IDA to the county at this point. Okay. We can work out some of the particulars, but we want him to put his feet right into the fire right away to help us better understand the processes that are in place today and how we want to move forward with them. So at this point, the scope of work is very open-ended, but we're asking for him to be our agent. Anybody else would like to make it or have a discussion point on that?
Mike, it's Langdon. If you want to, I can come up with a more formal resolution for you on that matter to define that, so you can, flesh it out. But I honestly don't think you need to. I think your bottom line is you're looking for Bill to coordinate staff activities between the board and the staff of the IDA and be able to report to the IDA what's going on there and be the, involved in day-to-day operations. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, that is. So we all have full-time jobs, and while this is a volunteer board, we can only do so much oversight. We'd like to be able to have Bill do those exact functions. So yes, if you could draft something up for us to review, and then if we have to even sign, I would be amenable to that. Thank you. Sure. And thank you for the offer. So at this point in time, we have a couple more items on the agenda. At this point, I would like to ask that the staff that is on to stay on. I would like to entertain a motion to go into executive session, and I'd like to have the ability to call them into executive session one at a time to ask them some distinct questions that is allowed under executive session privilege. So I'd like to entertain a motion to enter an executive session, and technology-wise, I'd like to be able to call individual employees and/or consultants into the meeting one at a time, so we can ask some questions as it pertains to personnel, legal services, the DA's subpoena, and of those things in nature. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
All those in favor to enter into executive session, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? Okay, so this is what we'll need some. Okay, thank you, everyone, and thank you for your patience as we've come out of executive session now, and we're going to continue on with the remainder of our agenda. Just want to confirm that everybody's here. Could everyone just give me a little thumbs up or something? Because right now, I don't see anybody.
All here.
All right, cool. There you go.
All here.
I think it kicks on as people talk because
Yeah.
I'm doing it from my dumb phone. But thank you. So out of executive session, so we're back into our regular meeting. What we're going to do now is we're going to have a couple items that I'm going to ask board members to bring up any items that they'd like to bring up, and then we'll finalize up with talking about financial reports and the in the audit, and then open board business, and then adjournment. So at this point, is there any board members that would like to bring up any topics or items to discuss and/or vote upon?
Sure, I would. I have a resolution that I would like to read at this time. I have a resolution authorizing the Orange County Industrial Development Agency, IDA, to terminate its agreement for various managing director services with Galileo Technology Group Incorporated, hereinafter known as GTG, and authorizing the chairperson to execute and deliver termination letters and any and all other related documentation necessary to accomplish such termination. Whereas the IDA and GTG entered into an agreement dated as of the first day of January 2021, pursuant to which GTG and its assigned partner, Vincent Cozzolino, was appointed the managing director of the IDA for the period January 1, 2021 to the date of the IDA's annual meeting in January 2022 for the sum of $70,000 payable monthly. And whereas the IDA and GTG entered into an agreement dated as of the first day of January 2021, pursuant to which GTG was appointed the managing director of the following business accelerator programs and its campuses for the period January 1, 2021 to the date of the IDA's annual meeting in January 2022 for the following compensation. Number one, the IDA's Orange County Business Accelerator Program for the sum of $80,000 payable monthly. Number two, the IDA's Middletown Accelerator Campus for the sum of $72,000 payable monthly. Number three, the IDA's Newburgh and New Windsor Accelerators campuses for the sum of $72,000 payable monthly. Number four, the IDA's Warwick Accelerator Campus for the sum of $72,000 payable monthly. Number five, the IDA's Highland Falls Accelerator Campus for the sum of $72,000 payable monthly. And number six, the IDA's Accelerator Without Walls program for professional services performed by GTGs at the hourly rate of $125 up to $300,000. And whereas the IDA finds such termination desirable and acceptable, now therefore be it resolved that the IDA terminate both agreements in the manner provided therefore in and each such agreement, and be it further resolved that the chairperson be authorized to execute and deliver termination letters and any and all other related documentation necessary to accomplish such termination.
Thank you, Leslie, for that motion. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Thank you, John. Any discussion? With no discussion, I'd like to have a roll call of board members on this resolution. Lori, can you do that for us?
Paul Riskevich,
Yes.
John Douthit,
Yes.
Mike Torelli,
Yes.
Vincent Odock,
Yes.
Tyler Etzel,
No.
Leslie Pieri.
Yes.
Passes 5 ayes, 1 no.
Can I
Did you have a question or you have a comment?
Yeah, I would like to abstain from that. Abstain.
Passes with 4 ayes.
Yeah,
One
4
abstention.
ayes, 1
One
abstention, 1 no. Okay. Thank you. Board members, are there any other items or topics that you'd like to bring up or resolve today?
Yes, I have a couple here, Mike.
Thank you, Paul. Please, we'll do them one at a time, Paul, so we don't try to get confused
Right.
with them.
Yeah, I know earlier we passed a couple of resolutions, but I do have more formal written resolutions that I would like to read. First up, we have a resolution naming the Orange County Attorney as attorney for the Orange County Industrial Development Agency, IDA, and directing other legal counsel of the IDA in relation thereto. Whereas Section 858(8)A authorizes the IDA to appoint an attorney who may be the counsel of the municipality and to fix the attorney's compensation for services which shall be payable to the attorney, and to retain and employ private consultants for professional and technical assistance and advice. And whereas the IDA has been notified by the Office of the Orange County District Attorney that the IDA has not complied with the subpoena served on the IDA to date. And whereas the IDA board wishes to appoint the Office of the County Attorney of Orange County to serve as attorney for the IDA at a cost of $0. And whereas the county attorney for Orange County, Langdon Chapman, has agreed, his office will undertake such role pending further resolution of the IDA, and that he would provide qualified staff from within the office of the county attorney to provide services to the IDA as attorney for the IDA. And whereas the IDA finds such an appointment and assignment to be desirable and acceptable to it, now therefore be it resolved, hereby names the county attorney of Orange County as its attorney and directs remaining any remaining legal counsel or other attorneys of the IDA to coordinate legal advice to the IDA board through the office of the county attorney. And be it further resolved that remaining legal counsel to and for the IDA, as well as remaining staff and contractors of the IDA, shall comply with the requests of the office of the county attorney for documents and information in order for the county attorney to respond to inquiries of the board or members of the board of the IDA. And be it further resolved that the Orange County attorney is hereby directed on behalf of the IDA to contact the office of the district attorney to notify the district attorney of this resolution and to take such steps as the county attorney deems necessary to ensure prompt and complete compliance with any subpoenas issued by the Orange County District Attorney to the IDA.
Thank you for that resolution and that motion. Can I have a second on that? I'll give a second on that.
I'll second. Sorry, I was muted.
Okay, I'm sorry, Leslie, you could take the second on that. Lori, can you call the roll of board members, please?
Sure. Paul Riskevich,
Yes.
John Douthit,
Yes.
Mike Torelli,
Yes.
Vincent Odock,
Yes.
Tyler Etzel,
No.
Leslie Pieri.
Yes.
Motion passes 5 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. Any additional items that board members would like to discuss or resolve today?
Yep, I got 2 more.
Okay.
Next one, Resolution of the Orange County Industrial Development Agency, IDA, requesting William Fioravanti coordinate the economic development initiatives of the IDA and directing staff in relation thereto. Whereas on March 4th, 2021, the Orange County Legislature replaced the IDA board, and whereas since that time, the newly appointed IDA board has reviewed staff and contractors of the IDA and continues to do so. And whereas the IDA board wishes to ensure better coordination of the various contractors and employees within the IDA board, with the IDA board, and whereas the IDA board desires to have that coordination developed through an agent of the board, and whereas Section 858 of General Municipal Law provides for the purpose and powers of the IDA, and whereas Section 8587 of the General Municipal Law permits the IDA board 7, to appoint officers, agents, and employees to prescribe their qualifications and to fix their compensation and to pay the same out of funds of the agency. And whereas the IDA board is reviewing existing staff, but wishes to coordinate through an agent the ongoing actions of the IDA. And whereas Orange County has an Office of Economic Development whose director is William Bill Fioravanti. And whereas the IDA board wishes to engage Mr. Fioravanti as the board's agent to coordinate the ongoing operations of the IDA and all related services of the IDA, including by example and not limitation the accelerator. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the IDA board hereby appoints William Bill Fioravanti, Orange County's Economic Development Director, as its agent to coordinate between the IDA staff and contractors and the IDA board, the IDA's ongoing initiatives, and be it further resolved that such appointment carries with it no salary or benefits, and be it further resolved that the IDA board directs the staff and contractors of the IDA to cooperate with requests for information and to update Bill Fioravanti relating to ongoing initiatives and projects which the IDA staff would undertake without direct board approval prior to undertaking the same.
Thank you for that resolution, Paul. Can I get a motion, or can I get a second on that motion?
I'll second.
Lori, would you like to call the roll, please?
Paul Ruskevich,
Yes.
John Douthit,
Yes.
Mike Torelli,
Yes.
Vincent Odoc,
Yes.
Tyler Edsel,
Yes.
Leslie Pieri.
Yes.
Motion passes 6 ayes.
Thank you. Any other board items and/or resolutions or discussion points?
Yeah, one more.
Go ahead, Paul.
Okay. Like propose a resolution directing Brown and Weinrab to release the report of Leonard Vana and the contract Brown and Weinrab has with Leonard Vana in relation to the Orange County IDA and otherwise waiving attorney-client privilege with respect to the IDA's communications with Brown and Weinrab and Leonard Vana for the purpose of responding to the subpoena or otherwise providing information to the Orange County District Attorney. Whereas the Orange County Industrial Development Agency, IDA, has retained a law firm of Brown and Weinrab of Albany, New York for either lobbying or legal representation or both. And whereas Brown and Weinrab reportedly retained the services of a certified public accountant, Leonard Vana, in relation to the IDA. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the IDA hereby, 1, waives the attorney-client privilege to the extent one exists between itself and the IDA in relation to the contract between Brown and Weinrab and Leonard Vana, or the business by which Leonard Vana is employed through. 2, directs Brown and Weinrab to produce such reports of Mr. Vana and all documents utilized by Mr. Vana in developing such reports, along with a copy of Mr. Vana's contract or engagement with the IDA, if any, and Brown and Weinrab, if any, and requests for services made by Brown and Weinrab or the IDA to the District Attorney of Orange County and the County Attorney of Orange County, who has heretofore been authorized to serve as the attorney for the IDA.
Thank you, Paul, for that motion. Can I get a second on that?
I'll second.
Sorry, go ahead, Leslie.
Leslie, get the second.
I'll second.
Lori, can you call the roll of the board members, please?
Paul Ruskevich,
Yes.
John Douthit,
Yes.
Mike Torelli,
Yes.
Vincent Odoc,
Yes.
Tyler Etzel,
Yes.
Leslie Pieri.
Yes.
Motion passes 6 ayes.
Thank you. Can someone confirm if the audit, the group that's doing our audit has joined us yet or not? I don't think were available from what Melanie said, correct?
Correct. Currently not available.
Okay. Does anyone know, staff and or consultants, do we know, without them being present and us having some additional questions, are there any issues with us tabling this to the next meeting? Is there any thing that we're aware of that needs to have this done by a certain period of time?
The only issue would be that Paris is due tomorrow, but as mentioned before, we likely need an extension anyway. So we would ask for an extension that would allow for the amount of time for the audit to be approved.
Yeah, Mike, this is Russ. I've already sent an email to my Paris expert, if you will, about the process for requesting an extension. So I should have an answer within a day or so about how that works. And I think, as Lori mentioned, that would also allow for an extension of the audit for your review.
And obviously the audit is part of the submission into the Paris system, correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
Thank you. So this being, I believe this was noticed as a special meeting. I don't see that we've received any financial reports or any requests for payments as part of our board package. So I will table that to a regular meeting. So I will table both the financial reports and the audit discussion. Are there any questions and concerns about either one of those from the board members? Without hearing any, I'll open this up for any other board business. Is there any other board business that the board members would like to discuss?
I have one, Mike.
Yes, go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I'd like to get an update from probably Lori and or Kevin as to the status of the response to the DA's subpoena, as well as the information that the legislature has requested.
Thank you. Lori, would you like to start? And then Kevin, would you like to follow up with that? Because I know you're been CC'd on some of that as well.
I was going to say, Kevin sent out an email to the board. So Kevin, I don't know if you want to take that first.
Correct. So basically what I sent the email to all your addresses yesterday. Yesterday, the staff electronically delivered to Stuart Rosenwasser, the AD in charge, numerous documents that have been requested as part of that subpoena. We believe it's about 8 or 9 of the 12 items that are on there. And they continue to work on the other ones. I also, hard copies were made yesterday and delivered, I think about 10 a.m. by Kelly to the DA's office personally, marked to Stuart Rosenwasser. And again, the staff members are working to get the rest of them. There will need to be some clarifications as to exactly what the DA is looking for in some instances, because it's not really clear exactly what documents they're looking for. And that was one thing I was going to follow up with Mr. Rosenwasser when I got back from vacation to find out what's going on. But nevertheless, they're still accumulating the documents. We're trying to come into compliance. As you may know, and maybe you don't know, actually, when the legislature replaced the old board with new board, we had Mike Koenig. He was actually supposed to sit down with Lori and Melanie and go through. That was back, I think, the day of your special meeting or the day after before the special meeting when you have dismissed him. So that sort of threw in a monkey wrench into the time frame of getting those documents out. And so I sort of worked with the staff to try to get it out as quickly as possible. And we didn't want to just do it, 5 documents at a time. We wanted to do it in as large a number as possible, so they can expedite their review of all the documents and do what they have to do at the grand jury. So it was a delay because of the release of the termination of the attorney who was originally hired by the old board. So, but I think we're in good shape. I think that he's going to have plenty of documents to go through. From what I understand, it was tons of them actually. I mean, for 5 years worth of documents from everything, every lease, every contract, every payment that we could possibly find that they asked for. we've given them. And so there's just now, I think, a series of other documents, which again, we need some clarification on with the ADA in charge. So, Laura, you want to add anything? I don't know if you want to add
I would say, I just want to make one correction. So it's actually 10 items of 16 that were requested. But so to that end, you know, in accumulating that data, it's also been a lot of the, Paul, you had mentioned this at the last meeting, a lot of the documents from the legislative request are kind of duplicative of this. Obviously, the subpoena takes priority, so we're continuing to aggregate data. But, you know, again, we will have, I believe, a fair chunk of what the legislature had sought will be ready, but we want to make sure that we go through, we're very thorough with the DA's request. So that one, they're both working in tandem, though, is what I would tell you. So again, it's as we go through pulling all of the information, because the legislative request was longer. It was actually a bit more expansive in its time frame. I think it started from 2014. So 2014 tends to get back into paper documents. So that would be a little bit more research, but a lot of the 2016 and forward information was contained in the subpoena. So as we get that, and once we wrap up the subpoena, we will make sure to provide everything for the legislative request.
Okay, thank you.
Paul, any other questions in relation to that?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
All right. Board members, any other open business? Anything you'd like to bring up or discuss?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, since we've taken over, I think everybody should make an effort to get out to the accelerators and see what they are and what they're doing, so that you know what you're talking about.
Great. Thank you, Tyler.
Yeah.
Vince?
Yeah. What Tyler said, I brought it up a couple of times, that every member should be there and see what is going on there, especially in Warwick. Very interesting, you know. So I would advise board members to at least try to get there and see that for themselves.
Great. Thank you, Vince.
I'd just like to add to that with Warwick. Mike Sweeten talked to me, and he's on the cusp of making a big turn on his accelerator, but he needs help till the end of the year. So I would like to try to help him with that as much as we can and see what we can do. If you'd like me to go out and see him, I will.
I think we have, as part of the accelerator committee, I think we have a lot of work to do with the accelerators and to better understand them and share all the information and stuff. So I look forward to all of us working together on that and getting to better know them and understand the deals that are in place. So I look forward to all of that. And if you want to relay to Mike Sweeten, that we're definitely looking to work with him on all of this, not only the project, but the accelerator and everything. So I look forward to working with all of our elected officials that host the accelerators and where they're at. Any other items that the board would like to bring up or discuss? Lastly, I'd like to just take a quick informal poll of board members. I probably should have just done this offline, but since we're all together, and I know that we're looking to meet at the end of business days, and I know that certain of us have other commitments on, whether if it's municipal boards or various philanthropic things that we do. I'd like for everybody to send into, and we'll send out Bill Fioravante's contact information as maybe tonight or as early as tomorrow, the days that you are not available. So if I can get the commitment from the board to any commitments that you normally have, whether if it's like I am, I think the third Tuesday of every month, I'm on the Village of Goshen Planning Board. I cannot attend, I have to be done by 7:30. It's not to say we're going to start meetings at 6 o'clock every night or every time. I think we could maybe do it a little bit earlier, but I'd like to also better understand timeframes. So we will, or I will send out Bill's contact information, and we'll do an informal poll of the board to figure out which days and times are taken so that we can schedule our regularly scheduled meetings. So I'd like to be able to publish that at our next meeting, so we can at least publish them for the remainder of the year, and we can literally book them so that we have them not only in our calendars, but in calendars for projects, consultants, and everybody else in between, as well as our consultant staff. Any other items that anyone would like to bring up? All right, with that said, I take a motion for an adjournment. Anyone like to make that motion?
I'll make the motion, Mike.
Thanks, John. Second on the closing of the meeting. Vincent, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. All right.